So good morning to everybody in the Action Coach community. Today's business spotlight is with Alan Connor, who is iPlicitireland.com. Alan, you're very welcome. Great to see you this morning.
Indeed, and yourself. Thanks for the opportunity. Yes, nice.
Well, in this sweltering heat, we're probably both in swimming togs and ready to go playing golf and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, to our viewers, Alan, can we tell us a little bit, what is it you do and how long have you been doing it?
I'm what you call a poacher turned gamekeeper. I'm an accountant by trade who's been distributing, selling, implementing accounting software for over 25 years now in Ireland and the UK. So I was from the accounting background. I did like IT, I like technology, and I evolved into that many, many years ago. I liked having a screwdriver in hand to build computers, and then evolved into the software space. So that's from Windows, DOS before that, and now with Implicit into cloud. So the cloud mid-range space is where our technology, where the accounting market is progressing. So it's something new, yet still back to the underlying accounting fundamentals.
So iPlicit is a platform, I take it then?
It's a dedicated, we call it true cloud accounting system. So rather than the accounting software that sits on a server, on a box in your office, or indeed might just be a hosted server, what we call legacy software, Windows-based software, it's true cloud. So like you stream, and you have your videos, you buy Amazon online, everything is now in true cloud. So businesses are evolving to a digital first strategy in the next 5 to 10 years, where they don't want the cost of servers, they don't want the maintenance, they want the software on demand, any browser, any device from anywhere, and that's where iPlicit comes in. We are the mid-range space, so we tend to be after you might outgrow your entry-level accounting software, or if you have a comprehensive server-based application and you've been looking at the cloud, but what was there before was a little bit too basic, like Web 1 compared to Web 2. This is where we've taken the technology, but with the functionality to make it a real offering, to make it a real proposition for complex clients.
Okay, and so just to be clear, everything, is it like a Xero or QuickBooks or Sage or?
It's when you would tend to outgrow all of those. So they would be wonderful for introducing clients to the cloud, where you do have your accounting functionality, your bookkeeping, but it's once you outgrow that, once you find that the inbuilt limitations of what they offer, and they do offer a lot, but they're quite open with where their product goes. And then they leave it to the more complex, added value, professional services-led solutions. That's where we come in to take that for the next level.
So you're taking accountancy, as everybody thinks about, oh, they just do your books, but you're moving into the next level of accounting, which leads me nicely into the next question. So who would be your ideal customers?
The ideal customer tends to be, the names you've just mentioned, tends to be people who have outgrown the entry-level solution. So they are growing businesses. They have got complexities and challenges. So for example, you're right, the entry-level systems can in some case be solutions that you use after the fact, after your transactions. It's the mopping up, it's the bookkeeping. Whereas a truly enterprise-wide accounting system is, your business can't run without it. It pushes everything through. In the absence of that system, you don't perform the task, the transaction. So we're looking for companies where the reporting is challenging, where they're particularly hybrid now with dispersed workforces who need to know a little bit more, better management, better workflow, or quite simply, in a team of accountants furiously data entering, duplication of entry constantly, be more efficient, more automation, actual AI, machine learning. So you're getting away from the drudgery that are there in larger expanding accounting departments.
So this is a B2C and a B2B model. Is that right?
No, we're actually B2B. So we would work.
Oh, you're actually the B2B. Okay, so it is the accounting firms.
It's the accountant in industry, actually. So it's not the practice. So it's whether you're a charity, government department, distributor, service provider, action coach company, whatever that might be, you're in operations. Certainly accounting bureaus can use our software as well on behalf of other industries and client groups. But
Okay.
we're everywhere from charity through to banking and government. So it's the accounts department within an organization that have outgrown their Sage, Zero, etc.
Now I have you. Now I have you. That's fine. I think that clarifies a better thing. So tell us, COVID came along and we all hated to talk about the C word. So we have gone through a couple of years of this now, nearly 2.5 years now, whatever. What was the biggest impact for you? You're back in.
As a business, we fell into it quite easily because we already had the technology. We were used to working remotely on client sites. We're cloud, we're software based. So for us, it was easy to work from home. So that was more of an easy transition. I think personally, it was a little bit more of a challenge to not be in the office.
Yeah.
It wasn't because I felt I had to be there to manage or to oversee, but I'm slightly old school. I would be in there before everybody else. I'd be the last to leave. I felt a presence was important to demonstrate a commitment rather than overshadowing people.
Yes.
Now I still put in ridiculous hours, but they're more comfortable.
Interesting.
So when I choose, I'm not tied to 7 to 7. I'm not struggling with traffic. So the personal benefit was stepping back and saying, I don't have to prove anything. I can still be just as productive working from home. But as a business, our staff all around Ireland and the UK relished it. It was a great opportunity, no more commute. The business model, indeed, of training and working with clients has changed. Previously, we'd hop in a car, you're visiting Bundoran for 3 days back to back, immersed in the software. We're on site, our professional services colleagues are on site 4 to 5 days a week. Now, and particularly with cloud, remote technologies such as Zoom and Teams, and obviously COVID, we now have evolved into giving, say, 3-hour pocket-sized sessions with clients. They can record it, it's there for future training. So it's less intrusive. We find the uptake is so much better because you're not dragging something out for a day. And I'm sure
it's very focused, I'd say. I'd say it's very focused as well.
Exactly. I'm sure you know yourself, if you're doing a full day on site after a heavy lunch, in the afternoon on a sunny day,
oh dear.
nobody's paying attention. So the
correct.
soundbite pocket-sized sessions have revolutionized what we do. It's easier to absorb. The customer deals with it better. It's less intrusive on their day-to-day. And our chaps don't have to travel through toll bridges and motorways. And
fantastic. So it's a win-win for everybody. It sounds like a win to me.
Exactly. Long may it continue. I wish technology had led it there rather than a pandemic, but it's a positive change coming out.
But I think in fairness, what I would say is the pandemic has actually exacerbated and accelerated that change. It's accelerated the use of the new technology, which I think is really good. And you're one of the few people I've talked to who've actually embraced that from the beginning. That technology is disruptive, and if you don't change, if you don't move, you get caught out.
Yes, indeed.
Bottom line. So tell me, when you were growing up all those years ago, is this what you always wanted to do?
Funny enough, yes. I was a dedicated accounting person from the intercert. So I knew I wanted to do commerce. I knew it was accounting. My dad was a clerical officer in CIE. So I was always pen and paper. It was something I always wanted. However, I did need the challenge, and indeed accountants in business. It wasn't just me who got involved. Accounting now as an accounts department, you're involved in IT. You're involved in directions and steering the business and all sorts of areas where the previous domain of just scratching away in figures and using the red ledgers, it was more bookkeeping, as we said. Now the technology and driving the business forward, it is exciting. I do like working with, and we're obviously exposed to so many different businesses, whether it's a government department or a small charity or a retail operation or nursing home. Finding out what they do is stimulating, and being able to overachieve those expectations. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Under promise, over deliver. Fantastic. And tell me, what would be the biggest learnings you got from business and from life to date?
Going back to our first software, and I've been involved in accounting software since the DOS days. And back then, you didn't have YouTube. Everything you learned was hard slog, personal knowledge, small organization as we were growing. So we succeeded and we thrived in Ireland through blood, sweat and tears, personal knowledge, in-depth insight into everything we do. That was great. At a certain stage, my grey molecules start rejecting a lot of new information. So the one thing I've genuinely learned is I don't have to know everything anymore. We've got a phenomenal team who are far more technically skilled and know so much more than me. And it wasn't that I was afraid of that. It was more that the first decades of our businesses in what I've done in Ireland in the accounting space was with me knowing pretty much everything about it. Now I've far more trust and comfort in being able to recognize and know what I don't know. And that's where the right team, the right colleague, it might sound a bit pre-canned as but it was an enlightening moment when I realized I don't have to be better than anyone or more knowledgeable in this area or that area. That's what our good teams are for.
Fantastic. I love that, because you don't know what you don't know until you know what you don't know.
It's an Irish conundrum, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that though. So tell us, Alan, what does the future look like for Implicit, and what do you think will be the main challenges you might be facing?
The future, and actually the future of industry, the future of software is a boon to Implicit. We're true cloud. We've taken that to the next level, and businesses will, if not today, they will be implementing a digital or cloud strategy. We now rent our videos, we rent electricity, we rent water. We don't own these things anymore, and IT is going to become a software as a service. It'll become a monthly service where you subscribe to get anything you need. So that's the big change that is going to benefit us. But it's not today, it's not tomorrow. I'm in Kildare, the internet hasn't dropped. There still are logistics in Ireland that maybe the UK don't have these days. So that really is the future. And whilst we do have server-based accounting software, which is still phenomenally successful, we do believe the cloud is where people and industry is going to go. The challenge for us as we grow is actually recruitment. We are in the technology space, we are in cloud, but let's face it, business accounting software isn't sexy. When you have Google, TikTok, Facebook hoovering up all the technical experts, if you want to get into IT, I want to be there. I want to be on beanbags, sitting in this wonderful premise. So accounting software and our sector, I think, will continue to have challenges with recruitment because the large multinationals are hoovering up the technical people. However, for anybody watching or listening, the benefits of being able to offer that technical expertise of business advice to make companies actually be successful in bricks and mortar is far different to being in the influencer side, in the TikTok side, just be one of many in a massive department. We do give a different level of satisfaction, and every client who succeeds, there's a personal sense of well-being and personal gratification in being able to help do that. So take your technology, take your business acumen, and pop it into something like accounting software.
Super. Now, I think bottom line is always the bottom line is what everybody needs to know, and how you get to that information, whether you know that somebody else knows, doesn't matter. But if you can make it easier to get to that point, I think that's something everyone should look at. I think it's really good. So tell me, if you started your business again now, what would you do differently?
We probably wouldn't have invested in premises for obvious reason. But it'd be hard to compare, because we're talking back in the DOS days where there wasn't even a motorway, where you're traveling to Cork on a 3-hour drive, where you're getting the train to Belfast because you wouldn't actually travel by car that old road. Whilst we have evolved considerably, but I do think we'd probably invest more. The days in technology of making your profit to spend your profit, that would have limited our growth in the decades gone by, where we were accountants, we were prudent. Pre-profit meant a loss. It didn't mean investing for success. That has changed, and whether that's with the investors you have out there, the angels, the seeders, the companies out there looking to plow money in to grow businesses, or just having the comfort and confidence and maybe support of your bank to be able to invest for the future rather than trying to self-pay and self-grow. That would be something that if we could talk to ourselves way back then, and the finance was available, that would have helped us mushroom far quicker. So the growth we had back in the DOS days, the Windows days, that might have took 10, 15 years to do, we will now do with a different mindset in 5 years.
You do realize there are people listening to this saying, what is he talking about, DOS? What's that? No road to Belfast. What do you mean no road to Belfast? A train. Yeah.
It was literally back in black and white, or a green screen if you're lucky.
Yeah. And lastly, the last question we ask you, what's the best advice you would give to an 18-year-old you?
Understand technology better. I was building PCs. I was very much into the hardware side. I liked the idea of coming into the office on the weekend with the tool belt and running cables and doing the physical side, but I never got into the programming side. So I wish I was a bit more clever in that regard.
We all hope that.
I'd rather have the tools and the hammer and the and crimping cables and doing the physical side. I missed out on the digital side. And I say the same to my sons. Even if you don't use it today, having some comfort and expertise, get into coaching, learning to code. Familiarize yourself with it, because it's not going away now, so ever more than before.
Fantastic. Alan Connor, thank you so much for investing your time this morning with us. Great to hear what you have to offer. And for people to get in touch with you, what recommendations would you make to us?
Pop onto our website, iplicit.ie. It's like implicit without the M, so iplicit.ie. Get in touch. We love to chat. We'd love to find out more about you and your business. We're not just selling. We need to know your pains. We will spend the time to have a chat with you too. And even if we can't offer what we have, we might give you some insight as to something else that's available as well. So
you sound like you've been coached. That comes across very well.
As for me, I'm happy to chat, and I'd love to find out more about your business.
Fantastic. Alan Connor, iplicit.ie. Thank you so much, and thank you for attending today.
Thank you kindly.